Hello and welcome to Tired of the Crud Sports Radio, a weekly address, a weekly program that is designed to give you an alternative to the sports radio coverage that you get in the corrupt states of America. I've got nothing against America. I just think most Americans are a bunch of buttheads, if you would. But anyway, I'm Dave, and I'm the host of this episode, as I was the executive producer, Dapper's boss, but Dapper is out of town for the Christmas break, New Year's, and John and Elmer are not here either. John and Elmer just did the last episode last week. I believe that was what they call week 14, and Tony is working on another project right now, so he's been out of the loop for a week or two, I think it has been. But anyway, this is typical of radio. So my name is Dave, and I'm the producer, so I'm going to give you a break from the norm here, and I'm going to host the show all by my lonesome. And let's discuss two teams in the NFL that I think really have shown some promise, that were afterthoughts every year before this year, and two teams that I think are definitely headed in the right direction, and the linkage between the two of them. I think that any time an NFL season starts up, what you have is these analysts coming out and saying that they think that X and Y are going to happen. And the truth of the matter is they really don't know for sure what's going to happen, because, I mean, you look at the nosedive the Colts have taken this year. You look at how the Texans were the armpit of the NFL for like the last couple of years, even with J.J. Watt. Well, I'm going to tell you what, one guy does not make a team, but now they appear to be getting it turned around a little bit. So, let me go ahead and take a break, and I'm going to introduce you to two teams that I think are really getting it turned around in the National Football League. So welcome back. As again I said, this is your producer for today, Dave. And my last name, well, you don't need to know my last name. You don't need to know my first name, really. I'm just the czar of football analysts, and I have great opinions on so many things. Hopefully you'll really enjoy the broadcast. Anyway, the two teams that I think are rising up out of the ashes to turn the world on its ear are the New York Jets and the Washington Redskins. And I think I could actually even add two other teams to this program as a B-side. The backside of a LP record, the backside of a 45. I think that the Raiders are showing some turnaround, and I think the Texans might be doing the same thing. But I don't think that their turnaround is as legitimate as the Redskins and the Jets. Now, I'm actually going to get started with the Redskins, because I think that they are probably the biggest surprise of all. Now, do I think the Redskins are a balanced team? No. Do I think the Redskins are a playoff team? No. I think the Jets are a playoff team, you see. I think that the Jets are further along in their development than the Redskins are. The most notable improvement that I can see on the Redskins right now is the individual who is acquiring the talent for this football team now. Scotty McCloughin, his papa, his daddo, was a draft pick for the Redskins under George Allen back in the 60s, I believe it was. That was the year that Hall of Famer Craig Hamburger was, Craig or Chris Hamburger, I can't remember what the guy's first name was, but anyway, he was their first round draft pick that year. Well, I believe his name is Terry McCloughin. He was actually the third or fourth round draft pick of the Redskins that same year. And he had a nice career. And he went into, guess what? Personnel, scouting, and recruiting, and that sort of thing. And so Scotty's kind of been around the NFL, been around the league for his whole life, but his baptism came with the Washington Football Redskins back during the 1960s and 70s. So the guy's been around football his whole life, right? Well, Scotty McCloughin has one basic philosophy. Take all these entitled players who think that they're way too good and who don't want to put the work in, and put them on the bench or get rid of them. Take the ones that are talented and put them on the field. But the most important thing to get on the field is guys with passion and heart for the game. Guys like Kirk Cousins. Guys like Will Compton. Guys like Houston Bates. Guys like Brandon Sheriff. Guys like Trent Williams. Guys like Jordan Reed and Jamison Crowder, the fourth round pick out of Duke University, who has already, in his rookie year, claimed the starting slot receiver position. Yeah, Crowder. That's what I'm talking about, Jamison. Way to go, Dookie. But how about Kirk Cousins? Okay, everywhere Kirk Cousins had ever gone, in Pop Warner, in junior high school, college, and now the pros, he was never, ever the starting quarterback. He was always the backup. And then something happened. The guy studies, he applies himself. He's studying Brady a lot from what I hear. Kirk Cousins prepares like he's a starter, like he really does it. And so what happens is the guy gets hurt who's starting. In this case, it's a bum like Griffin. Griffin's no good. Griffin just all hype. And so Griffin gets hurt, and the door's open for Mr. Captain Kirk Cousins to step in and take over the job, and he's not going to be looking back. So Kirk is the quarterback for the offense. But there's a guy that I really want to talk about on this broadcast. A guy that if you don't have him on your fantasy team, you're really mistaken. He is an undrafted free agent out of the University of Nebraska. His name is William Compton, number 51, in his second year with the Washington Football Redskins. This is a guy who has come out of nowhere. He wasn't allowed to play. He wasn't even allowed to compete for the starting job before McCloughin showed up, because the guy in front of him was a third-round pick out of Texas and Keenan Robinson. Well, I got news for you, fans out there. Will Compton is a better inside linebacker than Keenan Robinson will ever be. And now the Redskins have finally taken notice of this, have promoted him ahead of Keenan Robinson, and now the guy is just stopping everybody on defense. You can't run on the Redskins, you can't pass on the Redskins. But the biggest problem with this team is just the way that this team doesn't put the guys on the field who earn the right to be on the field. If you've got a good week of practice now with the Redskins, then your butt's going to get reps on Sunday. That's how it goes. McCloughin is tired of the days when the Redskins put the players on the field who have the commercials or the contracts or they're in good with the owner. That's not how you win football games. You win football games by putting Kirk Cousins and Will Compton and Trent Murphy on the football field. Guys like Brandon Sheriff. Guys like Josh Laribas, who's playing his butt off at center. Guys like Pierre Garçon, who's a warrior out there on the football field. Heck, the Redskins are so down to earth and so blue collar now that one of their three team captains is the kicker Trent Sway, who what I understand is a bad son of a gun. kicks the hell out of the football every week and gives them great field position. The Redskins have cut a lot of guys even this season and during the regular season. They have taken more than a number of starters from the original team week 1 and demoted them to backups, special teamers, and put the guys who are really putting in the work, really wanting to play, guys with heart, like William Compton from Nebraska, a Cornhusker. Came into the game and just plays his heart out. Plays so well, they made him the starter. Go Will Compton and put him on your fantasy team if you want to make some money, buddy. But yeah, the days of the Redskins not playing their best players on game day are over. And I see them winning their wild card matchup, hopefully against Green Bay. And I hope and pray that they re-sign this Captain Kirk Cousins to a lucrative long-term deal. This guy is the man. Anybody who studies T. Brady has got to be on the right track. And you know, this is what distinguishes, I think, the Redskins and the Jets from the two teams I mentioned earlier, the Texans and the Raiders, because they're the Texans and the Raiders. I really think that the Redskins are not a balanced team now, but I think that as they continue to grow together and get better, they will. And then they've got McCloughin still, who is going to sign Kirk Cousins in the offseason, and then they're going to add 2 or 3 more pieces through the draft. I think the Redskins could be a very scary team next year. Very scary team. And remember, Kirk Cousins did not get the first team reps with the starters in the training camp because that dope RG3, RG me got all the repetitions in training camp. There's one person, if I had my way right now, the Redskins are going to get rid of Griffin in the offseason. I personally would like to be there to open the door and show this guy the way out. I mean, RG3 is the stupidest moron, I think, ever who has ever entered onto an NFL football team. I will say this one last thing about the Redskins. Things have changed now. A new day is dawning there. With Scot McCloughin coming in, Dan Snyder is officially removed from making personnel decisions. Because make no mistake about it. RG3, RG me, that trade was engineered by the owner after he tried to trick people into thinking that Bruce Allen was really calling the shots there. Okay. Mike Shanahan admitted, and I believe Mike Shanahan admitted that it was Snyder who wanted Griffin, and it was Bruce Allen who played Weasel and just caved into the owner and engineered that trade and made it sound like he wanted it and that the coach wanted it. You got to give Mike Shanahan a lot of credit. He got up and did the PC thing for weeks and weeks. Oh, this guy is a special talent, all this, that, and the other. He wanted Tannehill. He probably would have rather had Wilson than RG3. RG3 is the biggest stupid moron who's ever disgraced an NFL team. But anyways, I'm going to talk to you about the New York Football Jets now. And I'll give you one big reason why the New York Jets are getting it turned around and why they may actually do some damage in the playoffs this year. First thing was addition by subtraction, getting rid of that god-awful idiot Rex Ryan as their head coach. Rex Ryan, the only reason why Rex Ryan has a head is to keep his ears apart. What a stupid moron Rex Ryan is. I can't say enough. I can't ridicule. I can't criticize. I can't insult Rex Ryan enough. Just a total meathead, caveman of a person. So at any rate, the new coach comes in. The new general manager hires a new head coach, Todd Bowles. Connection with the Redskins. Todd Bowles played under Joe Gibbs for some of those Redskins teams during the 80s. Todd Bowles, high character guy, great hire, black head coach, disciplined, not entitled to anything, works extremely hard, not lazy, doesn't move around like a sloth. Great guy. Okay. This guy has gotten this team with the right attitude, and he's bringing in the right people around him. Eric Decker has found his way in this offense. Ryan Fitzpatrick is under a resurgence because he's got a great guy like Todd Bowles as his head coach and got an idiot like Rex Ryan out of the way. You bench Geno Smith because Geno Smith is a bum quarterback in the NFL. Geno Smith's not going to take anybody anywhere. You got a good and improving defense. You're beating quality opponents, winning games on the road, and I think the Patriots and the Steelers better be put on notice. The New York Football Jets could very well take you down in these coming up playoffs. Don't overlook the New York Football Jets. You can overlook the Redskins and probably get away with it, but do not overlook the New York Football Jets because they are on the right track, heading in the same direction as the Redskins, and they are further along than the Redskins. So Washington not only beats Philadelphia, but they stomped them. And the New York Football Jets defeated the New England Patriots. So these are two teams that are headed very much in the right direction. And as it stands right now, the playoff race has not changed much from the previous week. But we do know that the Falcons knocked off the Carolina Panthers, so they are 14-1 now. But the luck of the Falcons is this: they became in the hunt with that win over Carolina, but the fact that Minnesota stomped Green Bay Sunday night puts the Falcons not only a damper, but knocks them out completely of the playoffs. So they were in the hunt, and then a few hours later they were completely out of it, eliminated from the playoffs. So add them to the list of heartbreaks for this season. So right now, my four teams in each conference, the ones that I like the most, would have to be obviously Carolina, Arizona, who I think is better than Carolina, and then you have the Vikings and maybe Seattle. I don't know about Seattle. I think Seattle could very well wind up playing Washington at FedEx Field, and with Kirk Cousins being a real quarterback under center, they could knock off the Seahawks in the wild card game and then turn on and get rolled up by the Vikings or Arizona or Carolina or whoever. But I believe Arizona will be in the Super Bowl along with New England. That's my prediction. And I believe Carolina will get knocked out in the divisional. No, they'll get knocked out in the NFC Championship game. Just because Cam Newton is still growing up. And he has a little bit more seasoning left to do before he's ready for the big time. AFC, again, as I said before, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, New England. I don't have Denver in there. Not interested in Denver. Denver doesn't impress me at all. So I think that should wrap it up for this week's edition of Tired of the Crud Sports Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. My name again is Dave, your producer, and hopefully you'll be hearing from me again soon. It just depends on the audience reaction to this episode, and if you guys like me, hopefully we'll find a way to fit me into the broadcast in the near future. All right, you have a great day, and let the good news be yours. I'm out.